Coffee is one of those things that starts off as just a tasty drink and then it turns into a hobby, and then you go down the rabbit hole and you end up with handcrafted espresso made from a completely manual machine. This is the unboxing for the Flair Pro 2. Now, there are a number of reasons why I've picked this up, but one of the main ones is that I have a series called While I'm Making Coffee. So while talking about various topics, I actually make a cup of coffee, and I usually do it hand drip, and I've been doing it that way for years. But when I started looking up espresso machines, I got myself a nice cheap espresso machine. In fact, it's this one right here. And then I thought, I want to make even better espresso and learn more about it. Those machines get so expensive, so when I found an option that wasn't going to break the bank, it turned out that manual espresso brewing is a thing. Didn't even know it existed. I didn't know it was possible that you could do this by hand and get the same amount of pressure that you get from a machine. But secondly, is that this is perfect for the series While I'm Making Coffee, because instead of pressing a button on a machine and just watching it make espresso for me, this really is like something I can do manually. On the series While I'm Making Coffee, I do a lot of manual grinding and manual preparation of the coffee. So let's jump straight in and see what you get inside the box with the Flair Pro 2. As you can see, it comes in this fancy cardboard box. This is the back of the packaging. This is the front of the packaging. And it also has, as you can see, a handle popping out the top, because this model, the Pro 2, which is a little more expensive than their entry-level models, it comes with a carrying case. Actually, I don't know if the other ones come with a carrying case as well, but this one does come with a carrying case. I'm really, really excited. With a Flair espresso maker, the sky is the limit. Your Flair will treat you to a delicious cafe-quality espresso, unless, of course, you screw it up, because one of the cool things about manual espresso making is that although you've got a machine which is capable of making cafe-level espresso, you can also completely screw it up and make an espresso which is significantly worse than something you'd get from just a cheap espresso machine. That's why I'm so excited. It's like gaining that control to make my drink so much better, but at the same time, so much worse if I screw it up. That's what really gets me exciting. And if you're interested to hear a video about all the reasons why I chose to go down this hobby, you can check out this video right here. First thing I'll do is I'll ask my friend Hatsune Miku to help me open this box. Actually, I don't know if that was necessary because I don't think that's actually the right part to open. There's a flap here, but for some reason I've just taken this flap off like so. The Flair Espresso. Take it out of the cardboard packaging. Something about a giveaway, quick start guide. Look at this lovely case. It is not cheap. This cost me 48,000 yen, which is something like, I don't know, 300 pounds or, I don't know, $400. It's not a cheap piece of hardware, and in addition, it's not the sort of thing that sells in the millions and trillions and billions. They charge a bit of a premium, but in exchange, you get a premium product as well. It even says Flair on the zip tags. That is pretty cool. It opens up away from me. Part of the material is on the top side of the case, and protected from itself is the bottom side of the case. There's a little flap in the middle, and as you can see, this is where the actual lever portion of the device is. The base is on the left. Get rid of this, oops, a base plate in here. The actual base itself, not as heavy as I thought it was going to be. You can see it says Flair, and underneath it's actually quite hollow. Flipping over to the other side, you can see the other half of the equipment. We've got some sort of cover. I think this is to help keep things warm. It's like a steam cover. We have a tamper, which I'm going to be using to like squish the espresso into the portafilter. This looks like a dosing cup so that I can measure out exactly the right number of grams of coffee I have, so I can perfect the recipes. I love that it's called a recipe. In my mind, a recipe is when you mix more than one object together to make like a dish. But with coffee, it's more like the recipe is a mixture of the coffee beans, the time, the amount, and the way that you put it all together. So it's fun how these words are used differently within different hobbies. We've got a pressure gauge. You can see it says espresso there in the middle. So I think you don't have to be exactly on 9 bars or 7 bars of pressure. Somewhere between 5 and 10 bars is what's going to make you espresso. And obviously you can push harder or less hard while making coffee and really like perfect the pressure curve. it is fragile and not water resistant. There's a little spout here in case you feel like your coffee is spitting everywhere. You don't want the risk of coffee getting all over the table, or maybe you've got electronics nearby, which I most certainly will. This is where the coffee actually goes. Ooh! And on the inside we have even more parts. It looks like this is your brew basket. This is where we're going to put the espresso itself, the coffee beans. Water is going to go in through the top. It's going to come out through this little sieve on the base. I have high expectations for this brew basket because the brew basket I just bought to replace the one in my cheap DeLonghi machine over here, like I think maybe the holes are too big, and so the coffee actually comes through the holes and it ends up in the cup. I don't know if that's just unavoidable, or maybe I need to use a paper filter or something, but hopefully the holes in here are a little finer and they won't allow coffee to like seep through into the cup like the coffee grinds. Hopefully the fines won't end up in the cup. And then on top of that you put this, which is a puck screen. If my understanding is correct, the hot water will come out of this vessel straight into this puck screen, which will deliver it evenly to the coffee below, and then it will trickle through the coffee and out through the base here. And now for the main event. This is the Flair Pro 2 handle itself, and obviously this is how the coffee gets made. It's such a simple thing when you think about it. It's just a lever made with 2 bits of metal and a place to hold the coffee. Squeeze that top through the base and squeeze hot water through the coffee at whatever pressure you want to. I think this is for permanently fixing the lever to the base if you don't plan to actually put it in the case and take it places. There's actually some interesting information here. Release force on lever only after the gauge is below the 1. You don't want to just let go of the handle too quickly. You want to release very, very gradually until you get to under number 1 and then let go. And you also don't want to ever push so hard that you end up in the zone over here. In fact, you can see it on the gauge itself. It actually says in bold letters, "Stop braking!" So you just don't want to push too hard. I like that the instructions are provided on business cards. And last but not least, I have a funnel. I completely forgot to get this out first, but I think the idea is that when you pour out of the dosing cup through this into your brew basket, you won't get coffee everywhere. And the other thing is that if you use the funnel, then you can start distributing the coffee without spilling everywhere. Something I have noticed when using this DeLonghi machine is that because I don't have a funnel yet, I put the coffee in, I start distributing it. I've got that little WD-T tool for spreading it around. Coffee just goes all over the table. I'm like, probably should have bought a funnel. And it's not expensive. With espresso, coffee, and just machinery in general, everything is a rabbit hole. And not only that, it's like if you give a mouse a cookie. Once you've bought a device, you're going to want a funnel to go with it. Once you've bought a coffee machine, you're going to want coffee beans to go with it. Once you've made, the coffee and it doesn't taste very good, you're going to want a tamper to squash it all in. As you can see, though, everything you need to make a great coffee, apart from the beans itself and a kettle, is included right here. So I think this is one of the most comprehensive packages of anything that I've ever really unboxed, because pretty much everything you need is right here. But stuff that I will need to buy after this is still a weighing scale. I've already bought some nice cups. Actually, you know what I was going to... I was trying to say that this has got everything you need, but now that I'm thinking about it, there is still a ton of stuff that I need to go and buy. For now, though, let's see if we can assemble it. Stephanie, no disassemble. So, we'll take the base here, and then I will put the top of it in here. I believe you just slide it in like so. It does rock around a lot, and I don't want it to move like that. Since I don't intend to actually take it camping or anything, I'm just going to put the screw in. Before we go any further, I just want to show you how nice this looks. Now, the only color option that I had was black. I think they might make a gray one and a white one as well, but this one looks really nice because black and gold is such a cool combination. I don't even know if you would call this. It's like rose gold or something, but it's really, really nice. Very, very snazzy. And of course, because we're going to be working with things at high pressure, it needs to be nice and sturdy. But it's not actually overly heavy. It just feels sturdy. To spin that around. Okay, that flex is completely gone. Very happy about that, because if it's still flexed a bit, that would annoy me. But as you can see, once the thumb screw, it's not really a thumb screw anymore. Once you've put the screw in the base, it is nice and steady. And now we just put all the parts together. Leave it here on top like so. Just squeeze that in there. Pull the handle down and squeeze down like so. I don't want to break anything, so I'm going to be very, very gentle. And also there's no water in here, so there's, I don't know if that really matters. There's no lubrication for it either. But there you have it. The Flare Pro 2 in action. That is so exciting. And then I believe after you're done making the coffee, you just take it out from here and drink it. Ah, there was a piece that I forgot. I'm sorry. Check this out. This drip tray is very fancy. It's in 2 parts. This is the top of the drip tray, and on the base, we've actually got the place where the unnecessary liquid will drop. It's beautifully designed. You know, it's got the actual curve of the device. It's not just a big flat edge. And I'll just slide this in like so. I've got to say, even the bag for the drip tray, it's really, really nice. I mean, they didn't have to go to the trouble of imprinting the logo on this little microfiber bag, but you could use this to wipe stuff as well. Not bad. So that's pretty much it for the unboxing. Obviously, before I use it, I think there's a lot of preparation and stuff that I want to do to make sure I don't break anything. But I'm very, very excited about using this machine, because not only do I want to get a nicer drink to taste, but I feel like I explained in the hobby video when I was talking about some coffee gear that I was buying, I'm really excited about this machine because discovering that I could actually build in techniques to this, it's like discovering that it's not just buy an expensive machine and get a nicer drink. Discovering that actually buying a more expensive machine gives you some flexibility because you can change the pressure curves and there's all sorts of fun stuff that you can do there. Discovering that there was this other aspect where it doesn't cost actually a significant amount of money for what you're getting. It feels like it's a specialized piece of equipment which is built to a high quality. It looks beautiful. It's actually beautifully designed. But more importantly, I don't just have to spend a lot of money to get a nice drink. I can spend a fair bit of money to get invested in something that I can actually learn as a technique. And I absolutely love the fact that this technique, if I do it well, I could make my coffee better, but at the same time, I could actually even make it worse. So it's not really just a question of spend money, get a better drink. It's a question of spend money, and then now you're invested in it skill-wise. You're invested in it as a learning experience. You're like getting into it as a trade, I guess, especially if you were going to work in a cafe, or if you're going to open a cafe and you're going to use something like this. It's like an investment in yourself, and I find that really fascinating. Anyway, I love to talk about stuff like this, and if you're interested to see me actually drinking coffee and talking about topics like this, do check out While I'm Making Coffee, a series that has been going for quite some time now, but mostly focused on drip coffee. No, actually, I mean, the coffee's not even really the focus, but often, going out and getting new beans, trying new flavors, just exploring the world of coffee while talking about my favorite trending topics about, video games or technology or just the world in general. Coffee is my boat. I don't think that came out quite as elegantly as I was expecting. Coffee is just this awesome vehicle which I can ride along in order to explore all these different topics. So if you're interested in that series, do check it out. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like the video, that does help. Check out this video specifically if you want to hear all about what I was talking about when it comes to that series, coffee, hobbies, and just getting deeper into topics. I cannot wait to start using this machine and learning more about it. I've been NihongoGamer, and I hope I'll see you real soon.